right, this is going to be episode 64. I'm calling this episode A.A.P because that stands for Addressing All Problems.
No! Don't do
Addressing
it!
all problems.
That stands for Addressing All Problems, people. That's what it is. So as y'all come on, make sure y'all like and share the video. And before I get into my spill, because it's going to be no icebreaker tonight, I got a whole lot of shit to get off. So it's going to be no icebreaker tonight. KD, if you want to do affirmation, that's up to you. They might need that before this.
How everybody doing tonight? I can't really see who's on here, but I know that our regulars are probably on here. If there are any new people on here, welcome. And I'm not going to apologize for T before he gets started tonight because he has to get things off of his chest. And that's how life is. You never hold anything in that is bothering you that could fester into something even worse. You always address any issues that you have so that you can always cleanse your energy because you can't cleanse it when you're holding on to things. So don't be afraid to let go and cleanse your energy. So let's join T as he address all issues.
I want to first say, this will take me off the hook. I know I've been on punishment for the past couple of weeks. Thank you, T, for allowing me to come outside.
All right, people. Make sure y'all like and share the video. Say something in the comments so we can know that y'all here. How you doing, Helen? What's up, Tara? What's up, Diana? I have some shit to address. There's going to be special announcements. And I'm going to try and give y'all a brief summary of what's going on. What's up, Kenya? So, as y'all know, we will no longer be called the Sunday Night Wind Down. And I'll give y'all some info on what's being taken place. There's been discrepancies behind the scenes. So I'm going to give y'all my part. I'm going to give y'all my truths of what's going on. And I'm going to let y'all know that I'm not always right. Sometimes I'm petty. I can be captain of the petty team. but it is what it is. And I'm going to tell y'all what's going on from my point of view. So, who's got that echo? You, KD? Who's got that echo?
Shouldn't be me. I don't have anything else.
All right, hold on. And if anybody has any questions or comments, you can put it in the chat and address everything to me. Everybody can address everything to me. So, we started the Sunday Night Wind Down because I was doing music versus battles on Facebook. Judge hit me up and said, yo, what do you think about doing a podcast? And this is not my first time being asked to do a podcast. I've done radio shows and other things of that nature. And at first, I was hesitant to do it because I know that I don't work well with people. Because when I feel like I'm busting my ass and people's half-assing, I snap. I get an attitude because I feel like people's not holding up their end of the bargain. So, we end up putting the shows together. And on the first episode, I made the Facebook page. And I have receipts for all of this if anybody wants to question or whatever. I made the Facebook page. I made KD. He introduced me to KD. I made KD. And I made Judge admins of the Facebook page. So as I made them admins of the Facebook page, we started putting together the first show. It was one of my friends who was the first guest, who was supposed to be the first guest on the first episode. I created the Sunday Night Wind Down logo. I made the flyer for the first episode. As we move forward, it was always a collective of us three putting all the shows together. Once our 1 year anniversary, I'm going to speed through some of this shit because it's a lot. Once our 1 year anniversary came up, Judge was feeling some kind of way. He was feeling like he didn't have time to keep going on with the show. our Sunday night, our 1 year anniversary show was coming up, and he basically was like, I don't give a fuck. Fuck the people. We can do it whenever we do it. It's Father's Day, and I'm not doing it on Sunday. That pissed me off. Ever since then, I've been feeling some kind of way. So he chose to step down. Nobody asked him to step down. Nobody wanted him to step down. I was cool with us moving forward how it was. He chose to step down. In comes Nell to help us out. I reached out to Nell. Nell helped us out. Y'all, as the people, y'all asked for us to bring the show back. We brought the show back. So now, as we're putting the show back together, our regular supporters, thank you for always supporting us. So as we're putting the show together, he's not helping us at all. He's not sharing. He's not posting on the page. He's not doing none of that. We're doing all the work together, us three that you currently see now. So after that, months and months go by. We're still working the show. We're still maintaining and improving our successful rate. On Tuesday, I was chilling, minding my motherfucking business as usual. I get a text saying, let's have a meeting and don't bring Nell. I say, hell no, what the fuck is that? We're not doing that. So then we have issues from there on in. He wants to claim that he started the show, he created the show, and it was basically like, this is his shit, and we work for him or some shit like that. He's the coach, and we're players, whatever. And I was like, hell no, I'm not having none of that. So, they're on 4th. Since I made everybody admins of the Facebook page, anybody who's ever been on the Sunday Night Wind Down Facebook page, you would know that only me and KD posted on the Sunday Night Wind Down Facebook page. And we moved on from that, and now we're on YouTube. You might have seen Nell pop up here and there and post something on Sunday Night Wind Down Facebook page, but it was mainly me and KD. Like a thief in the night, he blocked the Sunday Night Wind Down Facebook page and said, since we want to take the show, he wants the name. Since he created the name, I can't recall who created the name. I thought we did everything together. Whatever. As far as I'm concerned, this has always been a three-way. This has always been a three-way, unit. But in his eyes, he created this, and this is his shit. And I don't understand how people think that's possible or how that works, but that's not the case. So we're going to move on from being called the Sunday Night Wind Down. We'll continue our show as normal. We're just going to change the name. So if anybody has any questions, comments, or whatever, you can address it to me because I don't give a shit. And that's just what it is. So I'll bring back my co-host up. If anybody has anything to say before we move on to our first topic, that'll be that. What's up, people?
Okay, everybody, with that being said, let's make it known that I am cool with everybody. And T know that I tried my best to keep us glued, but sometimes you have to let people solve their own problem. And I respectively respect each one of the guys for the way they chose to handle whatever they handle, addressing the problems. But make it plain and clear that Karen D is not upset with anyone.
No, you got any any words on this before we move on?
Yeah, as always, just try to be the voice of reason. And just to kind of piggyback off of Karen D's point, I don't think none of us have a problem with anybody.
I'm good.
With growth comes change. With anything new or anything, whatever. Not even new, just with anything, maturity, growth, anything comes responsibility that is to your people. and your people is your audience. Is that we're only successful based upon who supports us.
Thanks.
The one thing that I will say is we said a lot tonight in regards to what's going on, but the one thing that needs to always be reiterated is we're such a collective, the three of us and even the four of us outside of the podcast, that we can still maintain not only a work, but a level of respect and friendship amongst us all. Ain't no, like, when people hear certain negativity or negative things, or they run with the narrative, they think that it's all smoke, and it don't be no smoke. It just be sometimes forever may have came before it was supposed to, or things just transpire to where we have to grow and move on in a different direction. That doesn't mean that there's love lost. It just means that it was our time to venture in our new way, and it was his time to do his thing. So by no means are we saying that it's smoke. By no means are we saying that the times that we enjoy together are not going to be times that we enjoy together going forward, because we are. It's just that he chose to go his way. We're doing our thing now here. And we're going to move forward with the support and love of all of y'all. And that's the only way we're going to be able to continue, is by growing our podcast how we wanted to go, and by y'all supporting.
Right. And I also want to say that I appreciate everybody who's been here from the beginning, everybody that's still here supporting us, anybody who's had a Sunday Night Wind Down t-shirt. I will, whatever our new name will be, I will be personally getting y'all free t-shirts with the new logo. Because that's what it is.
The name should be the shit starters, man. Like, because this shit don't never end.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I got like 4 or 5 nicknames, so I'm not married to no name except my last name. Like, I barely even use my first name. Like, exactly. I'm a junior. That's my father's name. Like, I'm not married to that. So,
but it will not be shit starters, people. Trust me. We will keep our name respectable. Because we do have shit on here. That's fine. But we just don't want that in front of our name.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, does anybody in the comments, or do any of my cast members have any questions before we move on to our first topics? What's up, Diana? I see you.
You want to read some of the comments too?
Yeah, we can do that.
We'll get some applauses there.
Right.
Thank y'all for loving us.
Who got the going on? Like, what you about to blow up over there?
That's KD. I don't know what's going on with that.
Man, you kidding me?
That's KD. I don't know what's going on with that. What's up, Shalimar? Can you read that now?
Yeah. Shalimar says you can't grow with people who don't like.
Sorry about that, y'all.
We're still here for the show, and much success to Judge and whatever he attempting to do.
Hey,
That's what I'm saying.
We love you, Judge. Ain't no harm loss.
That's what I'm saying. It ain't no beef, but we just ain't doing that. Like,
yeah.
We just ain't doing that. What's up, Queen Peach Gems? Let me see. Anybody else here before we move on? Let me see. Rhonda said you guys are amazing. Thank you, Rhonda. Yeah, so I guess that's about it. Nobody has any questions or anything, so I guess we can move on with the show and continue on.
One thing I would like to say on behalf of the cast is we wanted to be honest. We wanted to be transparent, because one thing for certain, we respect y'all. We care enough about y'all to, instead of holding back, instead of trying to glaze over things and make it seem like it is what it is or it isn't, just be honest. Come out, like we said a couple of shows ago. It's always good to be honest, because people can adjust the eye. You know what I mean? When you try to fake the funk and you try to act like things is what it is or whatever, it kind of gets to be, it dilutes the situation and it makes it flawed. So that's what we always try to do when we come on here. We do give our opinions. You know what I mean? We give our biased opinions, but also we try to give y'all as much of the truth as we possibly can from our standpoint. And that's what did, Karen did, and we're always going to do here on the unnamed podcast until we get a name. We're going to be our honest opinion about things. It may sound sometimes it may sound scripted. It may sound contrived. It may sound like written, but it's not. A lot of things come from our heart. It comes from the type of people that we are, and that's the reason why you get some of the spills that you get, some of the canter and banter that we going back and forth with, is because it's a personal experience that we may have felt. So that's the reason why we wanted to come on here and do that tonight. Again, to any party that has been represented by our podcast and what we're doing, and anybody that has felt any kind of way, we always want to say thank you for giving us the opportunity that we're being given, because it has shown us a whole totally different side of all of ourselves. And we're going to continue to keep growing. And again, we're going to grow with y'all as our support.
Thanks.
Getting into the ideology, man.
No, we're not. We're going to do ideology last. We're going to do Janet first.
We're going to do the pretty girl.
Yeah, we're going to do Janet first.
Okay.
So I don't know if everybody in the comments has seen the Janet Jackson doc. Came out on Friday. It was aired again. Third and fourth parts aired again on Saturday. So this documentary was like autobiography doc from like Janet, her family, her closest friends, people that she's worked with, and she wanted to tell her own story without, everybody telling her story for her. So, as we all have watched the doc, me and my cast members, hopefully, what is y'all takes on the Janet doc? What did you learn, or what did you see that surprised you on the Janet doc? Who wants to go first?
I'll lead it. Okay, so y'all know they said that I never look at anything, where this right here I did, and it was not hard to do, because I've truly been a fan of Janet ever since she was a little girl. So it was not hard to do to watch it. I was impressed because it seemed to me like the perceptions that the public had of her father for many years, as well as her brother, that she cleared that up pretty much last night when she praised him for them being where they are. Because as she said, her mother saw the talent, but it was her dad who had that was brave enough to put them out there, because they was going to be out there so wide, and they were, because he saw what he saw in his kids and he pushed them. So when you push your kids like that, and you know that it's a lot of greatness, they have to go through a whole lot. And for her to be as humble as she is, and as beautiful as she is through it all, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really did.
Okay, no.
I enjoyed it. It came straight from the horse's mouth. Far too often, we as a public, we think we know something just because we hear it from a secondary source, tabloids, or what we make up to be the truth. And I enjoyed her candidness on different topics that surrounded not just her but the whole Jackson family. Being someone who grew up listening to the Jackson 5, it played in my house regularly. My mother was a big fan of the Jackson 5, so hearing all those old hits, and then graduating with Michael when he became a solo act and following his trajectory, but then also following Lil Penny from Good Times to big girl Janet Jackson.
Right.
I love the fact that she did something that most don't do. And the media made a mockery of two people that she's come to love, that she's not come to love, but loved from the very start. And that was her father and her brother, right? Probably the biggest icon, or the biggest name that you can name in the whole entire world, Michael Jackson. And then everybody knows who the dad is. just by following their story. And I think she did such a beautiful job debunking the claims that the father was just in it for the money. It was just he didn't really care, or he ruled with an iron fist. And she said her dad was the reason why she's who she is today.
Right.
The star that she became to be is because of her father's love and her father's toughness. And if we come to know anything of nowadays, because most of our audience is that of a mature audience, right? We come from a generation where, and even us, we're younger than some of our viewers, but I say that to say we're still in that generation that cared, that our parents ruled with an iron fist. We didn't play with them, and they didn't play with us, but they loved us enough to still nurture us and love us with happiness and affection. But still, when we needed it, they gave it to us. So that's how I seen it as. I seen it as just that, where they want their kids to be the best that they can be, get out of that area of poverty, get out of that area of strife, and get into a place of comfort, stability, and use their gifts to go off and be what they are. So I enjoyed that. I even liked how she touched on different parts of relationships. She said something that resonated so well with me. I was like, damn. Because as a man, we never know exactly how our presence or how us as men lay on our counterpart.
Facts.
And she said she loved the right way, but loved the wrong man. And the reason why she loved the wrong man, because she always fell in love with the addict. Right? Be it the first husband, the Barge brother, right, James, right? How when she fell in love with him, he had a drug problem. She stuck by him until she couldn't do it anymore. The second guy, the choreographer, the guy who was Renee, who was involved in her business affairs. He was amazing at first, right? Everybody loved him. They knew he had her best interest at heart. He then became addicted to pills later on in the relationship. Come to find out, they were married, right? She got a divorce from that. Then her time with Jermaine Dupri. Now, we may say Jermaine was never on drugs. She said Jermaine was addicted to sex. Jermaine was addicted to other women. And that shit, like, damn, you got one of the hottest chicks in the game, in the whole entire world. Beautiful, successful, rich. All the things that we come to think of when you think of having a partner, and that wasn't good enough for him. And she just said that she loved the right man, but her love for the addiction was just crazy. And that was eye-opening, right? Because it's almost like, damn, like if she can go through that, we all can go through that.
Right.
That was dope. And I like how she touched on the fact that everybody always said she had a baby. You can't hide that. Like, she's such a big figure. And she's been such a big figure since she was a little girl. Like, it wasn't like Janet came to us in her 20s. Janet came to us when she was a 4-year-old.
Right.
So her star is so big that if she was pregnant, we would have known. And she touched on that. How can I keep a baby away from their dad? Why would I want to keep a child away from their father? I was raised by my father. I had my father. So it's not like I didn't have that aspect. I would want my child to experience that the same way I experienced that.
Right.
But Naya, look at how they did her at Super Bowl. Why would people believe that somebody of her status would need to stoop so low as to show a part of her body to get attention? That didn't make sense.
Well, that's because people do that, Katie.
So but anybody can. I mean, why would she need to do that of all people?
I'm not saying her, but I mean,
right?
People do that.
You know what? As I was sitting there watching that part, it bothered me because this is one of our icons in our world, but also in our culture. This is somebody that our culture can look to and say they came from the mud, just like we came from. They weren't born in Hollywood. They weren't born with a silver spoon in their mouth.
Right.
They had to suffer and go through what they went through to get here. And even when they became stars, when they moved to LA, they still went through racism. She was saying the teacher would touch her hair and touch her skin to see if it was real, see if it came off, or they would say, "Nigga, get back to your land." Like they endured that, even still being the biggest in the world, right? It was crazy, the Super Bowl situation, because her brother was going through his own persecutions with the trial, right? I equate that to the same thing that, and somebody can agree with me and somebody cannot. This is my own take. But whenever our stars become in a position of power, right? We always want to lift them up, but the moment they get up there, we want to pull them back down. And that's the same thing that happened to Bill Cosby. He got big, and his bigness was allowing him to be able to go out here and possibly purchase a big network, not a little own network or a little network on cable. He was purchasing one of the 4 major networks that's out there, and look what he went through afterwards. I feel like they couldn't get Michael because Michael was so big and Michael was so loved and respected that it kind of went. People didn't believe it, or his money was so long that
they couldn't prove that even if they wanted to.
Yeah, people just copped out to a plea, right? So who's next? Who's the next biggest thing behind Michael? His sister, Janet, on the biggest stage. Boom, this happens. Look what's on TV now, bro. I was just thinking about this. We got men kissing men. We got
that wouldn't even be a thought right now.
Yeah, like we got people twerking. We got people wearing half nothing. We got so much blasphemy on TV, in the world, in media itself, that a little nipple. Like, I'm gonna show my nipple tonight. Are we gonna get that hair? Like, I brought my nipple out.
Come on now.
You dig? It's a nipple. It's not saying it's distasteful or was out of place in that situation. But if we can forgive somebody who was in charge of our country for grabbing women's crotches and their private parts, we persecuting this woman for a malfunction of a wardrobe. It's just crazy how, as far as we think we advanced, how far we are not there. And this
can I give my take on the doc now? I mean,
go ahead, bro.
y'all just running to this shit.
This shit it had me though, Tim.
Y'all just running to this shit.
I've been finished.
First and foremost, I want to say shout out to Janet for still being beautiful at this age that she is. First and foremost, let's just say that she still is beautiful as ever.
Super beautiful.
And I'm glad that she did, share on the baby rumors and the Super Bowl thing. But the main thing that I'm glad that she showed was she talked about how her and her brothers are not always speaking. And that's a thing that happens. And people don't always, talk about that or believe that that's a real thing. But that is a real thing. Sometimes you go through stuff with your family members and you're just not speaking at the time. And like even when they did the Scream song and the Scream video, she was saying how her and Michael, were at odds, and she didn't even like, that whole thing. So that was a big part of me. And we have to remember that JD dropped the ball. JD, you dropped the ball, JD. I'm not mad at you because at least you got to experience that, but you definitely.
He kicking his ass right today, don't you? He's still kicking his own ass. Y'all better stop sleeping on the right one.
But you know what's so crazy to you about that?
What's up?
She said, if he just would have gave me a little bit more time, I could have moved past that.
Right. Yes, that carved just a little time for me.
He just was putting going out to the club and working over, spending just a little bit of time with her. Like, damn, that's crazy, JD.
But you do have to realize that happens when you're young. Like when you're a young man, you don't think that far ahead. Like your only thoughts are like I'm having fun. Whatever I'm doing at the time to have fun, that's what I'm doing. You don't think that far ahead with your partner to be like, yo, I need to chill and spend more time with my partner.
But I bet you think about it every single
When a
time.
man is young, he doesn't in that time frame all the time. Most men don't think that far ahead. But let's go through some of the comments and let me know if there's anything else that shocked y'all or whatever. Diana said she didn't know that the Coke company turned her down because of what happened with Michael. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of information in that doc. I want to say it was a lot of information that wasn't, privy to all of us that was in that doc. So if you didn't know, like I didn't even know she was on Fame. I don't even remember that.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know she was on Fame, and she didn't want to be on it. And she also talks about how she never really wanted to be a star. That just happened to be the family business, and she's happy with it now. But she said she wanted to go to college, and they was like, no, you're a star. Like we're not doing that. So there's a lot of information, in that doc for anybody who hasn't seen it. You should go and watch it. There's a lot of info in there. Let's go through some of the comments though, y'all. Can somebody read that?
It wasn't her status. It was her last name that did it. Society looked for a reason and dragged them as a family because of what Michael was accused of.
Yeah, and even on that Super Bowl thing, nobody never did anything to Justin. He's the one who pulled this shit off. He was right at the Grammys, collecting his Grammys right afterwards when they told her to stay home. So it just goes to show that they will pack us or try to pack us up if they can, if they feel like we're getting too powerful. They will try to pack us up. Diana's talking about the Tyler Perry scene, and I guess Why Did I Get Married Part 2.
Oh yeah.
She was real extra in part 2, but it was still a good movie. And she did great. I think she's a great actress.
She's very versatile.
Another thing is that I think that people like my kids don't even know Janet. Like they know Michael, but they don't really know Janet like that. Like they're like Beyonce and like Rihanna. So it reminds people that there was somebody before that. Like when I was growing up, it was always present, of the Marvin Gayes and the Temptations and this and this and that. So I always knew about all that. But these kids are moving so fast that they don't know the history of where things come from. They just know the here and now. Shalimar said they didn't see each other during that shoot. Yeah, she said that video ended up costing $7 million. And
yeah,
was acting
now
crazy.
I mean, I knew it cost a lot, but that shocked me.
Yeah, that video ended up costing.
Now, with the beef that they were having during the making of that, didn't she say that their record companies caused that because they wouldn't let them get close to each other?
Yeah, she said there's always people, coming in between trying to control Michael and trying to get close to Michael. So that was always a thing.
Wasn't there a conflict too with the Pepsi and the Coke situation? He was a Pepsi spokesperson. She was a Coke spokesperson.
Yeah, but that wasn't the problem though. The problem came when Michael started catching those charges.
Mm-hmm.
That's when they took that from Janet. So they would have still let her, go with that. It was just that Michael was catching those charges. That's why they took that from her.
Oh. Yeah, because that's what Randy said. Well, during the Super Bowl, that's what Randy said too, that they was throwing that at her because they had Michael in court. So it's just like they were always going after them. And I know it's nothing but it was jealousy.
And
of that family.
Yeah, it's definitely jealousy. And it was also a thing when she was talking about how they lived in that house.
Yeah.
No, did you see when she said the boys slept in these 3-tier bunk beds and 3 of them slept in one of the beds?
Yeah, I was like, what?
But I seen it happen, and it does happen, but it's still crazy.
Yeah,
it's still crazy. We lost Nell for a minute. I think somebody's calling his phone, but he'll come back on. So, do we have any other comments or questions about the Janet doc? It is on Lifetime now. You can watch it on demand on your Fire Stick, wherever you need to watch it. Catch up on it. It's definitely a good watch.
Definitely.
So does anybody have any last words on this before we move on to ideology? Because I know people are trying to get back to the football game. What's up, people? Helen said that's a little ass house.
But they made it work, didn't they?
Yeah, it happens because when you're in the hood, you don't even realize that you're in a little house. Like now, when I go to my mom's house, I be like, God damn, it's small here. But it seemed big when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And Randy said just that. Said that the house looked so much bigger when they were smaller.
Right. Yeah. Now it's just like I don't even know how we did this.
Wow.
You make it work. You make it work.
So they deserve everything they have got. That family deserve it.
Right. Definitely does. Definitely does. All right, people. Any last words on this before we move on to ideology? What's up? What's up, K-Day?
Oh Lord, ideology. What you got to you? What you got to you? Y'all, I'm almost afraid.
All right. If everybody's ready for ideology, this is what it's going to be. This week's ideology is going to be. Let me see what this last comment is before we go on. Yeah, Helen, that's
It's gonna be a good one.
That's how I feel when I go to my mom's house. Yeah, she did take responsibility for all that stuff. Yeah, she's a strong, black female, and I don't see her placing any blame for, I don't see her like she even take a lot of the blame in her relationships. So I don't see her, placing blame on anybody.
No, that's not in her.
But this week's ideology is going to be, I need to bring the ladies to the forefront, and I need to question some of the men as well. But this is mainly on the ladies. So ladies, do y'all think that it is fair to bring multiple kids into an unbalanced or bad situation household? That's what this week's ideology is going to be. Do y'all think that that's a fair thing? Like, even, I'm going to see if I could explain this more. So even you can have situation where a relationship doesn't work out and now you're a single parent, and those things do happen. But I'm talking about when you are with a man who you've known has other kids and you still have multiple kids with this person, and he's not going to take care of your kids, but you still have kids with him. Or, hold on, my light went out. Or he's like, it could be a situation where he's locked up or whatever, and you still move forward on having this child, even though he's going to be a fatherless child. So what are your thoughts on that?
Ooh, that's a good one, T. I like that.
I be thinking, man.
My thoughts on it. Okay. I guess they allow the heart to get in the place of it because they cannot be thinking, first of all, when they take the kids that they have into something where they know that man is no good and they're turning a blind eye. But why on earth would you go and get another child?
Right.
Bring another child into the mix that he's not even taking care of, because he's not going to get better. It's just going to make it worse. Because he's going to... girls, don't do it. But who's going to listen to old Karen D?
No, what's your take, though?
So the question is, how do you feel about men who get the kids?
Here it is.
Do you think they to bring multiple kids into a broken situation?
Right.
That's a hard one.
Let me know in the comments what's your thoughts. Make sure y'all like and share the video. I'm going to say this as I was listening to somebody have a conversation last night, probably 3 a.m. on Instagram. And the topic of the matter was, a lot of these kids are out of control because they're fatherless kids And on top of them being fatherless, they're being coddled by their mothers at the same time. So they're fatherless and being coddled at the same time. So they don't know how to, handle what real life is outside.
I don't think they're being coddled. I think they're being neglected because they have, well, okay, let's keep it real. Most parents are out of the house working. Then you have the single parents, the single mothers. Okay, you got that baby. They're out there trying to get another baby by another man, yet another man. So
Right,
where
Katie.
is the
But
care
what I
for that
but
child?
what I mean by being coddled is your son is outside in the streets doing all kinds of mayhem, and you like, no, that's my baby. He's a good boy, and this.
Oh, that kind of coddle. Okay, I ain't never do no such thing as that. No, my son can tell you I ain't play that.
So what's up, people? Let's see what Kenya's saying, because no, don't even have an answer yet. Kenya said, first off, I need y'all to stop talking about me. I was young. I was young and dumb.
You one of those parents.
I was young and dumb. But I'm trying to say, like, I understand that you can be young, but you have to think. You have to think about these things. Even when you're young, I know it's hard and everybody's just moving like impulsively and all that. But you have to think about these things, like when you're bringing kids into these situations that is not like a healthy situation.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that alone shows the immaturity for them to even have another child, because they're not putting those children, um, safety first, or thinking of those kids first. So what you gonna think about this next one that you just only getting, just try to get this man who you're not gonna have because the prison system gonna have him.
Joanne said she never understood this one is enough. What happened to birth control? What happened to birth control was people don't like using birth control. And that's just the basis of it. Either guys don't like using condoms, some girls don't like using condoms because they might be allergic, whatever.
But there's too many other forms of birth control.
Right, but that's what I'm trying to say, Katie. Even with the Depo shot, a lot of girls gain weight on the Depo shot. Like, there's a lot of different reasons why people don't use birth control, just on the fact that they like having sex, bread or without it.
Well, and
in some cases there are other reasons.
How about the thing last week with the young lady who's trying to sue, who says she's trying to sue about the condom, Drake?
Right.
It's that case, Joanne. They want to have a baby by these men because they think that's gonna get them. But in actuality, when they get that baby and they don't have that man, then guess what? They're not taking care of that
that's
baby.
What I'm saying, KD. So even after, they have the first kid, so they think the second or the third kid is going to keep this man?
Exactly.
No, you're kind of quiet.
I don't think it's
fair. No, I'm quiet because I'm trying to get a lay of the land. Like, I mean, kind of like, I don't know. I don't know which way to go with it. I know it's crazy to bring, to keep continuing the same perpetuations when it's not like a resolve to that, because who suffers at the kids, but that's touchy. Like, it's a situation where you gotta just know what's best, and we live in this idiotic times that we can change it. Like, a person can be changed by a child. Like, oh, they're gonna be with me because they got a child by me, or he gonna stay with me, or she gonna. It be the weirdness for me. Like, it just don't be.
That's what I'm saying, though. But I'm saying, when this is you already have. You can already see he already has other kids by other people, and he's not taking care of those kids. So why do you think he's gonna come take care of the kids y'all have together?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. Right. That's true. It's
like a guy that have a dozen kids already.
Right.
Why would you even want to date somebody like that? Okay, maybe the dingle ain't good. I get it. Go and get you a little of the pickle, but you don't need to be adding kids on to what he already have. Nick Cannon expecting another baby. What the hell?
Well, he's got a money.
And hear that though. But this the thing. I kind of agree, Karen, but I don't, because if a person can take care of it, let's say you got 12 kids, 13 kids, as long as you can handle your responsibilities, it don't matter how many kids.
I do agree with that, as long as you can handle it. But I'm saying though, most of them only get that child because they think it's going to get that man. If he's got 8 kids already and not having anything to do with those kids, what make you think that he would pay your child any more attention, even if you had one with him? You know, they don't look at that thing.
I want to talk about what Janine's talking about, because being a single parent is definitely a hard thing. And I've had my daughter by myself, you know, at multiple occasions, so I know what it is to be a single parent. So I've seen women have to work, you know, like overnight shifts, and then they got to put their kid in overnight daycare. And it's like, why would you want to go through that where you have to put your child in an overnight daycare and you have to work an overnight job? Like, do you think that that's fair to the kid to have to go through that? Like,
but you know what, T, and Nail, and I see where Nail is going with this. I do commend the women who, if they lay in that bed, that they know how to take care of their business. They don't ask that man for anything, because they realize, okay, I went in, I know the nigga didn't have nothing.
Right,
but I have to take care of mine. I don't.
Right, but even if you're handling your responsibilities, isn't that still a disinjustice that the kid doesn't have a father?
It is. That's something that you can't. That's something that I love y'all women. I love women to death because y'all are such an amazing. But that's one thing a woman can do, is raise a man to be a man. You can raise a man and he can turn out to be a great man, but there's certain things that men need from each other as substance.
Yeah.
Right. And it's something that our men need from our women as well. Like, that's why the cohesiveness has to be there. Right. Because men need a woman as well. Like, it's different traits that we get from both parents. Mm-hmm. Right. And certain things just a woman can't. She can experience those things, but not know what it feels to be from a male. And a man can't teach a man what a woman's emotions are or feelings are, because that's something that's unique to her or them. Mm-hmm. So we got to do better when it comes to that.
Saying. Like, I hated the fact that my daughter had to always go back and forth between me and her mom. Like, her whole life, she had to go back and forth between me and her mom.
You know what I hear all the time, right? Because I'm in my 40s now, right? And the first question is, do you have kids? Like, a woman asks that. Like, that's one of the get to know questions that somebody asks. Do you have kids? And when you say no, it's almost like a shock. Well, what's wrong with you? Something wrong with you? Yay. You got issues, something, right? You want to be a player? No, it wasn't that. Is that I come from that situation. Right. My father has 12 children. We all have different mothers. So all 12 of his children have different mothers.
Right.
I know who my father is. I know who my brothers and sisters are. We are very close. But I didn't want to, but I also was raised by another great man who showed me how to be a man, right? And to take care of my responsibilities. I never wanted that to be my story for my child, where I'm here, his mom's and him and his, or her and him or whatever is over there. I wanted it to be a family that I seen every day waking up with my mother and my stepfather. I wanted that for my own child. So until I could provide that for myself, my child, and the mother of my child, which at some point was going to be my wife or whatever, I didn't put myself in that situation. Right. Because, again, I knew what it felt like to wonder why I'm not with my dad, why my dad don't love me, or why is this and why is that.
And I also understand how it is to grow up, you know, with a brother and a sister that you didn't get to grow up with. And I don't think that that's fair either.
Yeah, it's not. No. It's not. Because you got 12 brothers and sisters, you know them. Y'all ain't in the same house.
I mean,
You dig? And it's like, damn, well, why are we not? And we come together as adults, and then you get this. It's this toughness that makes you from that situation, and it makes you have trust issues with certain things, but then it also builds a resolving you like other, but it gives you this stone heart sometimes as well. Like, damn, the person that made me ain't the person that's here raising me. Why?
right.
Why not? So that's one of the reasons why when people ask me why I don't have kids, is that's the reason, because I didn't want that to be the situation. I grew up in a home, even though it's my stepfather who raised me since I was 1. I know what that feels like to have a mother and a father,
Right.
and then my sister in the house and be a family.
Right.
And until I could provide that for my child, I didn't put myself in that situation to make unnecessary babies for that child to be affected by the lust of me in that moment.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. And some of those situations you can't control, because sometimes relationships end. Sometimes people break up. But don't keep the pattern going. Like, don't keep having multiple kids and keep that pattern going for this kid. Now this kid got this daddy, or this kid got this mom, and you just keep on going till it's like 6 or 7 and everybody's all scattered all over the place. Like, that's not, I don't think that's fair to children.
Yeah,
No,
that shit
it's
is
not.
hard. Got light-skinned kids and dark-skinned kids. One got the curly hair, the other one got the nappy nigga.
But now that can happen with the same father, Neil. I mean, I look totally different from my brother and sister.
Yeah, I'm harsh. I'm
You
throwing
That
that kid
can
out.
happen.
I'm throwing that kid out. If the head's nappy,
I'm throwing that shit out.
gotta go. No, I'm joking.
So, what do y'all think, people can do to improve, this?
It starts at
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Neil.
It starts at the
I
very
want to hear the male view.
Go ahead now.
starts at the very beginning, what we talk about far too often, and it's getting to know that person instead of letting the sex be the beginning of the conversation. Because far too often is sex to be the lead in to, oh, and your name is, oh, and you got how many kids, or oh, you live here with your parents still.
Right.
Sex is always the beginning and never the after, because then you're like, damn, this person crazy, or I ain't know this about you, because we let the physical get into the way of actually building a structure. So the best way to get in front of that is knowing and loving yourself again, like we always say, and then knowing what you want. Like, yeah, you can go be with somebody after you found out, y'all can you can research and whatever, and this person got 5 kids. If you think that's what you want to be at, then by all means do what you think is best for you. But get to know the person first, and stop just sleeping with them and then trying to find out things about the people and then get mad at them once you find that stuff out. And then be like, oh, well, you ain't never tell me. Well, I ain't had to.
But I mean, even if that's the case, I feel like you don't always have to go forward with having that child. Is that not a thing?
That's true.
You mean abortion?
That's true. I've
Well, I mean,
I've had 3 situations where it came to be where I was going to be a possible dad. After conversations, we weren't ready.
Right.
17, 18 years old. I'm on my way to college. She on her way to whatever. We decided that wasn't what was best for us at that time. Right. Other situations as I got older wasn't the best situation. So yes, you're right. If you can't take care of it, if you believe in abortions, that's for you. If you believe in adoption, that's for you. Right. But don't put that child in a situation where it has to fend for itself, because that's basically what it's doing.
Right. Go ahead, Katie. What was you gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna say the abortion thing, I'm totally against. That is no form of birth control.
So, Katie, you're totally against abortions, even if somebody was raped?
No, I'm not totally against it. Now, if that's a rape or something like that, or you know that there's going to be a defect in that child. No,
So
I'm not.
what if it's kids? What if they're like 16, 15, 16? You still against it?
Adoption.
That's a hard thing for a 15 or 16-year-old to carry that
I
child.
know.
And then you
And
gotta then both parents have to agree on this. Like that's a whole war that you can get involved in. When
right, and that's why it has to be something that each individual has to decide for himself, and everyone has to accept whatever that individual chooses.
Yeah, but that's a hard thing to get everybody on the same page, KD.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
tough.
that's true.
I don't think that you
Like I
should.
have a problem. I have a problem with that in the world nowadays. Like they're
Right,
trying to legalize, or they're trying to reverse Roe versus Wade, where with the abortion situation, it's like
right.
it always be the woman's right to choose. It's her body. We
Yeah.
can't, we should never be the deciding factor on what somebody does with their body,
Right.
right? Because what ultimately happens is another life is now brought into a situation that it can't function in.
Right.
What happens to
Mm-hmm.
that child is now a product of the system. It's now impoverished. It's now going through the motions, and we have another case of what's the problem out here, right? So
Right.
it's like if we give the power to the woman,
Right.
back to the woman, or keep the power with the woman, then she's going to make the right decision for herself. Because God forbid she puts that baby in the trash, or she just does something
Mm.
idiotic at the end after going through that situation, and she just not ready, and she throws her life away where we could have gave her the choice to make that choice in the beginning.
Right.
It just
Right.
gets sticky when we try to control the narrative. Like,
Hold on now. Let me ask Katie because she said something about birth control or all of that. So Katie, what about people that some people do get pregnant when they're on birth control?
Now that is true, and I believe in that case that child was meant to come here.
I
But
knocked a couple IUDs out before, so I know it can happen.
so in that case, Katie, you wouldn't approve of abortion?
I mean, yeah, I would. I mean, I'm not. It's not my decision anyway. Now,
Right.
if it was me, and I had one of those things in, and that happened to me, I would totally have the child because I would feel that that child was meant to be here if it lived through that. But would I try to make that decision for someone else? No.
But
I had a family
hold on,
member.
if it lived through birth control, you
Yeah.
mean?
But that, like, again, that's my choice that I would choose for me. I would not choose that for anyone else, including a family member, because, like I said,
Right.
a family member had to make a decision like that and ask my advice, and I would not have any say so whatsoever. I only told her that I would support whatever decision she made.
Look, I'm going to only say that I would point more towards abortion over adoption because even in adoption, that child can be placed in a bad situation.
That's true.
You don't
That's
know.
true.
You can't control
But
that.
I just see it. I just cannot see ending a life.
But who also wants to have a child out in the world that they don't have no connection with, that they're not a part of their life? Who also wants to do that too, though?
Well, then that's when you put the child up for adoption. And most of the time, when a child is put up for adoption, they're going to go to a good home.
No, I'm talking about who wants to be separated from their child in that manner.
Apparently, those who did not want,
like
those that want to
I
have an
can't,
abortion.
like I can't imagine me having a child that was put up for adoption. That I know I got a kid out in the world somewhere. Like
Right, right.
I just can't imagine that. Like
Well, that's one of them things where it come back to them. That, I mean, that's just one of them things where it come back to them.
all right, let's go through some of the comments, man. Can somebody read what Lady KC said?
There's something about the
Um,
kids days that don't hear or listen, try to help guide them, but they still do the same and now they're 2 and 3 kids in, and say they want to talk to me tomorrow. Now there's 2 kids, and she wants to talk to me tomorrow. Huh?
Yeah.
Let me see. It's something about
Joanne said, "What if they never get adopted?" Yeah, you could put a kid up for adoption, and they go through the foster care system their whole life.
Yeah, and that is true. That is true. But for those of you who don't know, I am a mother who adopted, so I'm gonna always go with adoption. I adopted a child, and I know he had a better life than where he would have went. So I'm gonna always choose that.
Okay.
Yeah, adoption is dope if it works out right. Get the right people.
Mm-hmm. And see, ours do, because we are one blended family. His biological family and us, we're all one blended family. But we didn't know each other beforehand. We came to know each other for his sake.
Okay.
But what happens when you make it difficult? Because going through the whole 9 months, all those weeks, and you carrying that child, and you forging a bond because it's growing inside of you, and then for you to at the end give it up for adoption, it could be traumatic.
Some of them don't forge that bond now. I mean, most it's natural for a mother to form that bond, but you would be surprised how many of them detach themselves from that bond.
Yeah, that's true. I'm sure of it, but I'm sure there's a lot others too who just naturally motherly instincts kick in at that point, and
right.
the attachment of something growing in their body and it coming out and it being of them.
Mm-hmm. And that's why when a mother is going to put a child up for adoption, they would not let that mother see that child at birth, not the biological mother.
So what about the father?
Well, the father they have a choice to sign for adoption or to not sign for adoption. So if the father decides that they don't want to put the baby up for adoption, then it's the father's responsibility to raise that child. But if he signed the papers.
But there is cases where he hasn't signed the paper and the mother still said, "Fuck him," and put this baby up for adoption.
I suppose so, T. I suppose so. It's just that I know with the private adoption agency we use, that was not going to happen. So I guess it depends on the situations.
Okay. No, you want to read what Helen said?
Yeah. After I read what Helen said, let's also read Shalamar's comment too. But Helen said life situations could bring about those adoption situations. Only that person knows why a terrible situation to be in about the surrogates.
What about the surrogates? I'm not mad at the surrogates because they know what they're, that's a structure. They know what they're getting into. That's a structured thing.
Yeah, but they still form that bond.
This what you wanted to talk about now?
Yeah, all children, Shalamar says, all children are meant to come here. Our free will changes the narrative.
I don't know if all children are meant to come here.
See, I'm kind of on board with Shalamar on that one.
Not them little bad ones.
Not them little bad ones.
It is up to us to change the little bad ones, Neil. That's why.
Yeah, it is up to us. It is up to us. But that's the thing, though. When we were growing up, we had that change. Like, we grew up on Redfield Street. We talk about that all the time. Redfield Street from top to bottom that was a true village.
Right.
You had somebody in every house or every other house that cared. Right. That made sure that if you didn't do what you were supposed to do, you got chastised before you even got home, and then you got home and got chastised. They made sure you was going to school. They made sure you was on the right and narrow. They made sure because they were invested. The hood's not invested no more.
Right.
America's not invested no more in the well-being of our children. Right. Just look at it. Look at what we see on TV and entertainment and just in the world. It's just no accountability anymore for what our future is supposed to be.
Right.
So
Yeah.
true. So, but now, Neil, you gotta look at these little bad kids today. Now, you say something to some of them, they be done put a gun to your head.
It don't matter. I remember. Not even like on Redfield Street, we had so many different families, and then the Williams family, right? D and all those people. Like before you got down the street, like Miss Cat will be on you. Then you had Miss Betty and Miss Pat, and you had before you even got halfway through the block, T Mom. Then you had everybody cared about you. You don't see that nowadays. I can drive down the street at 1, 2, 3 in the morning in certain neighborhoods, and I see little kids outside playing.
Right, little kids be like 6 years old outside. It's like
Crazy.
2 in the morning.
That's why I'm saying some of them kids you can't approach them. They ain't.
But it's the lack of camaraderie that we have in the hood, like that we have in our neighborhoods, right? Because everybody wants to turn a blind eye. It ain't my kid, so I don't care. Right. It ain't my situation, so I don't care.
Right.
Not knowing that situation can turn into your kid, because that situation could be walking with your kid and playing with your kid, and then your kid is infested. Or that kid walking down the street playing because they don't know no better, and somebody starts shooting up the block, and now that kid's dead, and now we got a memorial on the ground. We don't do that.
Mentioning that, I just got just before the show started, there's a 9-year-old that shot a 7-year-old in Snellville.
Carrie D, you know what? Back in the day, that would be like, oh my God.
Right, but that's right.
Nowadays, it's all far too common.
So sad. So sad.
It's far too common. Like, you got 5-year-olds pulling guns and shooting guns, and 6-year-olds.
Well, that's my point right there, that you cannot be a village now because the little village kids will kill you.
Okay, I just want to ask a question. So, does everybody believe that everybody should still be pro-choice if you have 1 or 2 and you're already struggling?
I mean, it's gonna always be their choice. Now, it's their body. You can't take a woman's choice from her that way.
No, I'm not choosing for her, but I mean, do you think?
Well, you can. They can. Now, I won't say you can't, but I just don't think.
I'm asking if you think that's. I'm asking if you think that's fair.
No, it's not.
I don't think it's fair to take her choice from her.
No, I'm asking if you think that's fair to the kids.
Oh no, it's not fair to the child. It's not. Absolutely not.
No.
Let's see what Gisette is talking about. Can somebody read that?
Who's talking about LaShawn?
Gisette, it's on the screen now.
Oh, okay. The bottom line is people have to think beyond their own gratification. In the end, it's all about the children, whether adoption or abortion. And that's what me and Tia saying right there, Jesse and Neil. It should be about the children.
But that's what I'm saying. Sometimes I think it's personally selfish of you to bring that child into this. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, selfish of you. I'm bringing all these kids in the tennis.
Selfish.
I know people that got like 6, 7 kids, and they still having more kids, and they don't got a job to first.
That's what I'm saying.
Man, like welfare only giving you so much.
And they're not even spending that on the kids.
Yeah,
well, I thought they had started making the mothers work for those chicks. They don't do that anymore?
Not in my hood.
Really?
Not in my hood. They still got their Section 8 houses, and they still sitting at home collecting their checks.
Getting they
I thought they make them go to work and earn that little check.
Getting their crab legs and lashes.
Yeah.
The work. The only work they doing is hustling them food stamps every when they get them.
So the only hustling they doing is working and selling the food stamps. That's about it. It's crazy out here. All right, everybody. As I was saying earlier, we're gonna come up with our own name for our own podcast. We're moving forward. I don't want to talk about this anymore. We're moving forward. So before we wrap this show up, does anybody has any last comments, questions, whatever, before we get up out of here?
I like the name Grumpy Old Men. Podcast.
Grumpy old man. Wait a minute. Do I look like a man there? Wait a minute now. Whoa.
Hey, Katie, that's an inside joke. That's an inside joke. That's why I don't say it. That's an inside joke. I named one of our basketball teams that before.
That's what I named one of our basketball teams was called Grumpy.
What's up, people? And if y'all have any suggestions on a new name, y'all can put that, in the chat or in the comments as well.
Mm-hmm.
But like the Temptations over here, shit.
Yeah, Angela, you was in Mexico. You missed the beginning of the show. I told you to get here early.
You missed the whole show.
Yeah, I mean, I told you to get here.
She's
early.
been on here.
No, not Angela. She just popped up. I ain't see her.
I saw her earlier in the show. I saw her earlier in the show. She made a comment.
I just seen her just popped up. What's Lady KC talking about? If you're already struggling, keep your legs closed. It's hard. It's hard to tell.
It's hard
to tell people, to keep their legs closed.
Yeah,
some just happens. Some people fertile.
That's harder than anything. Yeah, some people is extra fertile. That's the ones you gotta watch out for.
Oh yeah, just get close to them and a baby pop out.
Right, those are the ones you gotta watch out for. The extra fertile ones.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
All right, now you want to talk about football before we get out of here?
Let's talk about football.
I see this game is tied right now.
Today was a real big weekend in the football world. Today's games predicted who will be in the Super Bowl in 2 weeks, right? So we've already had one winner. Shout outs to the Chicago Bulls. Shout outs to the Cincinnati Bengals. This is only the third time in their franchise history that they've been to the Super Bowl. So shout outs to the Cincinnati Bengals, who actually last year was 4-12. They made a resurgence this year, and they are now representing the AFC in this year's Super Bowl. The second team that we hope that we'll see tonight, we have two teams playing right now, is tied. San Fran 17, the Rams 17. Now, the Rams just tied it up. We have 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. These last 6 minutes will decide, if not overtime, who will represent the NFC. Will it be the Rams or the 49ers? Right? If it's the Rams will actually be playing home at their own home stadium for the Super Bowl. This Super Bowl this year will be played in Los Angeles, California. And this will be the second time in Super Bowl history that a team from this home city will be represented in the Super Bowl. The first time it happened was last season. Shout out to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Super Bowl was played in Tampa Bay last year, and Tampa Bay actually won a Super Bowl.
Speaking of that, Tom Brady announced his retirement. And I want to say I've never been a Tom Brady fan or a Patriots fan and none of that. But I wouldn't have been mad if Tom Brady would have got his 8th ring, just because I love to see people stack rings. Like I like to see people stack rings. Like get as many. I ain't mad at it.
So that was true news. He really did.
Actually, to touch on that point,
he's retiring.
To touch on that point, he actually came out after all the reports were coming out that he was retiring, and says he has not quite made up his mind yet.
Okay.
So
I thought it was confirmed.
It was confirmed, but then it wasn't confirmed. So I'm thinking he might have had a change of heart. He's saying all the well wishes. He's saying all the smart talk or whatever, and he may want to give it a go for this 8th time around. I think he will be waiting to see what Aaron Rodgers does, and Aaron Rodgers is probably going to be waiting to see what he does, because a lot of people are starting to say that Aaron Rodgers could be going to Tampa Bay, or to Denver, or to an AFC team. If he leaves the AFC, Tom Brady has an open door to possibly go back to the NFC Championship, because the NFC will be weakened, and outside of Tom Brady, his next competition in the NFC would be Aaron Rodgers. So that will open a door for him to have an easier road to the Super Bowl next season. So keep an eye out there with your favorite team. Now is the off season for a lot of our teams. See what their next moves are going to be, see what they're talking about, see who they're hiring. Maybe your team will have a resurgence like the Cincinnati Bengals did this year and will make it to the Super Bowl. I don't want to see you closet fans come out. If you like the New England Patriots, if you like the Dallas Cowboys, if you like the Dolphins, the Raiders, I don't want to hear you say I like Cincinnati.
Right.
Because I live in Ohio.
No bandwagon
Ohio.
No bandwagon hopping.
Don't jump.
Don't have to worry about me on that one.
Let that team be cool how that team be cool. You just hope your team tighten up next year and you make it. I heard a lot of people hit me up this week. Now, who you going for this week? I don't care. Yeah. I just want to see football being played.
Right.
I just want to see somebody win other than
I just want to see a good
somebody
game.
Else.
I just want to
other
see
than the Patriots.
Other than the Patriots.
You know what I mean?
Game, that's all. I just like to see good games. That's all.
That's all I want to see. Good games. So hopefully the last 6 minutes will be a good game. This playoff season, if y'all been watching, has been one to remember. Every game since the start of this second week has came down to 3 points. Literally 3 points. This week's game was kicked by a field goal. Last week's winners won by field goals, right? That's letting us know that they're playing. Right. Nobody is getting destroyed, and they're giving us good, great content. All
right. Now, so KD starts the show, and you can end the show however you want to end the show because we're doing whatever we want to do here.
It's the I don't know what this is podcast. Love it around here. Yo, again, shout outs to everybody out there, and I don't know what y'all are, land. I would say Sunday Night Wind Down, but that's not us anymore. But shout out to all of y'all out there for always continually supporting us, making sure no matter what we got going on, y'all showing up, making sure whenever we post content on our pages that y'all always commenting, y'all always pushing the narrative, and y'all also are challenging us because y'all going back and forth with us helps us to see a different point, also helps us to, get our minds flowing. Shout outs to I gotta definitely say this. Shout outs to my two friends. They're more than just co-hosts to me. My dogs, Karen D. Neal and T. Teller, because just being able to be a part of such amazingness. That's what I think of it when I think of this every week. Is great. Like as y'all seen, even when I was going through my sickness, even when I was sick, I still came on a show because this is my job. This is my I as a responsibility, and I take this as an opportunity that could have been given to anybody else, but it was bestowed upon me, and I take that so serious. So, you know what I mean? People's like, "Oh, you feel better." I feel like shit.
Right, but we gotta come to work. We still gotta come to work.
It's my job. But when you sign up for something, you gotta take that stuff serious. You can't half-ass at it because you got the job. Now you got to work even harder to keep the job, maintain a job, and push the job forward so you being successful in it. So I want to shout out to Karen D. Neal for always giving us such amazing content, be it the Karen Corner. She sucks at Battle of the Sexes, but we're going to let her have
it. Do that.
We're going to let her have that. When she sucks on Battle of the Sexes, she makes up on the big screen when she doing her actress thing. So that's, you got to give a take. And then my dog over here, who I known since I was freaking like 9-10 years old.
Facts.
To see us doing such, serious things as running the podcast, doing a sneaker show, right. Also being a father, right. Being a man, having so much other things going on and still being able to make this work is dope. Regardless if he talks shit or not, regardless if y'all believe in what he believes, the shit that he be saying right. all the time, that's a good hard to do right there. And that's what makes this podcast so dynamic is because we come together and we mesh so well and we realize what our roles are and nobody is bigger than the next.
Facts.
You did? So I want to say to everybody out there, continue to support us. This is like this is like training camp right now for us. Like I feel like we're in training camp, and when we bust out with that name, we bust out with those uniforms, y'all gonna see us on the field, on the court, going crazy, right? And we taking y'all with us because y'all are number one fans and y'all are number one people. So all we can do is ball out for y'all. All right. So thank you to everybody out there for continuing to support us, and don't stop supporting the Sunday Night Wind Down because that's still family. Regardless, that's still our family. That's family, and that's still gonna be our family. We're gonna tune into what they got going on. We're gonna like what they got going on. We're gonna share what they got going on because that's still our family. Ain't no love lost, ain't no bad blood, ain't no smoke, and ain't no issue. It's just that we are now transitioning over to our own thing, and we rolling. They got their own thing, and they rolling, and we gonna roll. You dig? And I'm so fucking competitive that I'm always.
You already know. You already know.
I still got some shit with me, so I'm always gonna want to be the bull.
And we will be streaming the audio soon to every streaming platform, so you will be able to listen to us on Apple, all of those, Spotify, SoundCloud, all of that. You will be able to listen to us. Like if you're driving to work, whatever, you will be able to listen to us soon on all streaming platforms.
I'm back. But
thank you guys for all of the love.
I know we was doing that standing 8, and one thing's for sure, two for certain, we always gotta pay homage to those things that make us think, make us laugh, cry, and grow. So we need to set us a time out to come together at the end and pray, because we never know what's going to make us or break us in our downtime between now and Sunday. All right. So we ain't standing 8 right now, but we coming together and we wrapping our arms around each other. And I want to do a little prayer like this. All right. Our most gracious Heavenly Father in the heavens, thank you for giving us the opportunity to see another one of your beautiful days here on earth. Thank you for giving us the wherewithal and the passion that is to come and be what we are every day, but also giving us the knowledge and the power to wanting to be better than we was the day before. Right? Just let us all grow within our own selves, just so we can go and be better for somebody else, so they can get the greatness that is of them. Also, just teach us the way, show us the way, and also help us to be a leader and not followers in this new way. Also, bless us to where we can continue to keep growing successfully and powerful enough to where we can start taking and giving back. Bless our new venture. Bless us all. And in your son's name we pray. Christ Jesus. Amen. That's it. That's what we're doing. Love yourself, love each other, and put God first. All right. And in 2 weeks, don't fucking bother me. I'm not getting on nothing. Super Bowl. We should have our podcast at like 2:00 in the afternoon.
Facts, because that will be Super Bowl. But make sure y'all tune in on Wednesday to Taylor Made Kicks, and we will be back next Sunday. We'll probably have our new name by then, and we're going to keep it pushing. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And we'll
bye, y'all.